Hi, this is Izabel Florence, and you are listening to YouRLight podcast, a safe space where we talk about mental health and well-being. You are listening to another solo episode, and today I will be talking about attachment. I think it's a lot more interesting for me to explore subjects that are not fully formed in my mind and not fully understood. A lesson that I learned a while ago in my spiritual journey was that the questions we ask sometimes are more interesting than finding the answers. And I want to focus on this whenever I record a solo episode. So for me, it's more interesting, as I believe it is for you, to explore subjects that my mind has not been fully made up about. And this subject is one of the most interesting ones that I find in any spiritual journey or self-reflection journey, is attachment and detachment. It's something that's so talked about in so many religions, Buddhism, in the Upanishads, and so many ancient practices. In the yoga traditions, it's really interesting because I believe there's a lot of lessons to be learned behind it. And even though I haven't made up my mind fully on every aspect of this subject, there's a few aspects that I think I fully understand now and fully agree with. And some of them have supported me in becoming a happier human being. So I'm going to share those with you in the hope that they can make you happier as well. The main thing when we talk about detachment and attachment, to firstly try to understand what it is that it means to us. I see attachment as the need of something external for me to be happy, or the belief that I need something external to become happy, even though happiness is not a final destination. We all know that by now. But there's this belief that has been indoctrinated into us by society that we need a certain lifestyle, certain objects, and certain people around us to become happy and to believe that we are worthy of love. All that is actual lack of self-love, lack of understanding that just by being a human being, just by being yourself, and I say just, even though I believe that it's not that easy to live honestly in the full being of yourself, the self that is who you are deep down. It's not easy to live like that because firstly, it's very difficult to understand what that means for you. And secondly, we are told so many things. We are told we should seek happiness in so many different external things that we lose the ability to understand that my happiness is completely different to everyone else's. And it's very unique. So, attachment to something means I need this something to be a happy human being, to feel like I'm worthy of love, to feel content. And I think that's where the problem lies. When we start to look at detachment, there's a freedom behind it that is very, very fulfilling in a deeper level. It's really interesting that we attach ourselves to so many things when we are so aware that nothing is forever and that nothing is certain. How can we believe that, for example, having a certain type of relationship with someone is going to make me happy forever when that relationship is constantly going to change? How can we believe that a certain part of my identity is attached to happiness when we are constantly changing? So therefore our identity should be changing as well. I think it's important to understand that attachment does not consider that our life is ever changing. Let's first go into relationships. This is a really difficult one. It's so easy to attach to someone and to how someone makes us feel and to the idea of what a person is. The truth, though, I believe, is that no matter how long you have a relationship with someone, in a way, it's impossible to understand who they are in their core. First of all, because, again, they're always changing. So they're not a solid block that's constant. Second of all, our perception of them is directly correlated to ourselves. The way I see someone is directly correlated to my past experiences with them. So I know Bob. He's a colleague of mine. I only see Bob at work. Even if I see Bob every single day for 9, 10, 11 hours a day, I don't see Bob when he's not at work. I don't see Bob when he's with his friends. I don't see Bob when he's alone with his dog. That might be a completely different person. So I attach my idea of who I think Bob is to my relationship with Bob, even though I don't know who he is. And then you look at really, really intimate relationships and you think, what if I'm spending all of my life with someone? Shouldn't I then fully understand them? I don't think so. Because I don't think anyone fully understands themselves. So how can you fully understand someone else when they don't fully understand themselves? And they're spending every single second of every single minute of every hour with themselves. I believe I don't fully understand myself. There's so much that I uncover every month. Things that I didn't understand before. Things that I didn't really see that were hidden in the depth of my subconsciousness. And the more I seek, the more I dig in, the more these things come out. I didn't know they were there before, so how can I expect a loved one of mine to know that it was? They won't. So maybe nobody really understands each other, ever. And our relationship to someone else is directly correlated to our relationship with ourselves and with our past. Because the brain recognizes something according to your experience with that. If you give a child a fork and you say, this is a fork, you eat with it, and you show them how to eat with it, they will. And that's how they're going to see the fork for the rest of their lives. If you give someone a fork and say, this is something to brush your hair with, and this is how you brush your hair with it, they're going to spend their lives brushing their hair with a fork. So how we see things is directly correlated to our experience with that thing. Even words. I am going down on a hole right now. This is what I do, by the way. I just go off. And sometimes I go off away from the subject that we were talking in the first place. So bear with me. But it's just really interesting. Anyway, relationships. You don't really understand who the other person is because, one, you don't fully understand yourself. That person doesn't fully understand themselves. And your view of that person is influenced by your view of yourself and your past experiences. So then attachment comes in. And you tell yourself, my life is only fulfilled when I have this person in it. I can only feel joy when I have this person in my life. What does that bring? It brings fear. It brings fear of losing that person. It brings fear of that person finding love with someone else and you realizing, oh, someone else is better than me. Because again, like we said in the beginning, you need something else outside of you. You need something external. You don't believe that you, just by being, are worthy, that you are enough, that you are everything that you need. So you attach your happiness to this person. What does that do to that relationship? It means that you are fearful of the future You are very aware of the past. What did I do to make this person fall in love with me? I need to keep doing these things. I need to stay the person that I was when we fell in love. So you're not living in the present. What does that mean? It means that you're not able to fully give your love to this person and fully feel the love that they have for you. So a lot of people say, oh, detachment is so cruel, right? Because you're not giving value to that relationship. And that's not true. You give full value to the relationship. You give full value to this person because you want them in your life. You don't need them. That is a big difference. And it makes such a difference in a relationship. In every relationship, you should come first. It doesn't mean that you're not going to want to give this person all the love that you can, everything that you can. Be kind to this person. Want to make them happy. Sometimes want to make them happy more than you want to make yourself happy. But if you yourself are not happy with who you are, if you lack self-love, if you feel like you need something external to be enough, you're just putting pressure into that person. And there is the attachment. A relationship without attachment is a freer relationship. The more non-attached you are to a person you love, the more you are able to love them fully for who they are there and then. Because also this person is going to change. You are going to change. You don't know what's going to happen, but you want that person in your life right now. You don't need them, you want them. And that gives more value to the relationship. I choose to have this person in my life. We don't realize how influenced we are by the people we are in a relationship with. It's the most influence we receive. Think of your life, and we talk about diet. We talk about movement and exercise. We talk about our jobs. We talk about the books that we read. How about the person that you choose to spend most time with? They're going to influence your mental health exponentially. So choosing that person is giving so much value to them, to who they are. Your love is not dependable on any characteristics this person has. You're not worrying about the past or trying to avoid a negative future. You can therefore gift this person with your free, authentic, present self. Does your I love you come from your fear of loneliness? From your attachment to having company? From your deep want to escape yourself? Or for who they are individually, away from your own projections and fears? And by not needing people in your life, I'm not saying you don't need a community. Community is a big part of what brings us deep fulfillment, the feeling of belonging, the ability to share. Blue zones, the places in the world where people live the most, put community in a very, very high order when it comes to their values. What I am saying is that you are a very adaptable being, able to find this community again and again. It is one of the most powerful things us human beings are, is adaptable. And I only realized this when I moved country and I was able to fully integrate myself with another culture. How many people in this world nowadays start a new life somewhere else, by themselves? You are everything that you need. This is really important. And as you allow yourself to see human beings by who they are, you will understand that you have something in common with every single person in this world. And this is why you're able to become part of communities everywhere. Your fears and joys come from very similar spaces within. Someone in New Zealand can have very similar fears than someone in Brazil. And you can see that the best storytellers have been able to show these qualities and archetypes we all have within us. And this is why their stories live forever. This is why someone in 2022 will watch Hamlet and connect with it as much as an audience member in the 17th century world. So you don't need to attach yourself to a specific person, to a specific community, to a specific country, even to your family. This is a difficult one. It's very important to understand the value of the relationships we have with our family, but we are not attached to them. If from those relationships you are only hurt and you only experience pain and anger and suffering, you should understand that you are not attached to them. There's so much to talk about when it comes to attachment, and I've only gone into relationships and I'm not even done yet. So I think I'm gonna have to record a few episodes about this, which is fascinating. Another thing that a lot of people do is attach to someone for the ego boost they will feel as a result. So society tells you BOT is very valuable. What happens when we see every single advert show the gorgeous woman with the gorgeous man, both charming and stunning, perfectly proportioned, living a gorgeous life that is so happy, and they have this thing, and they say this is why they are beautiful, they are happy, they are fulfilled because of this thing. So you have to get this thing. But most of us have by now understood that that's not how it works. And a lot of people that are very, very rich, very beautiful, very successful, very famous, can be very depressed, can be very lost. So we need to detach this idea that having things that society tells us will bring us happiness will, because it probably won't. It might bring you some pleasure. It might bring you some joy, momentary bliss. The biggest lesson to learn about detachment when it comes to relationships is to understand that attaching yourself to someone is not giving value to them. It's actually decreasing the value that you give to yourself. You are whole. You are enough. You are everything you need. The people in your life are true gifts that you can cultivate and you can love fully, freely for who they are then and there. Not for expectations of what they might become. Not for how they made you feel once. But for the human being that you see in front of you. I think by detaching ourselves a little bit, we can find more love. And this doesn't mean that you can't have a monogamous relationship. I'm in a monogamous relationship with someone I love so deeply. I never felt this love before. Yet I understand that I am whole by myself. We are not incomplete by ourselves. We are complete beings choosing to elevate each other's lives by sharing it with each other, by sharing the wholeness that we are. You are enough. You are everything you need. That is what I'm going to leave you with today. And I hope you enjoy this episode. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Why don't you message us on YouRLight on Instagram. I'm really interested in seeing what people think about this subject. And I know that I still have so much to learn. Thank you so much for listening. All the links are written down on the show notes, as well as resources for anyone struggling with their mental health. Don't forget to subscribe so you're notified when we release new episodes. Also, feel free to share our podcast with your friends and family. And if you'd like to get involved, explore our content, or support our work, you can become our Patreon by visiting our website www.yourlight.earth. That's YOURlight.earth. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at u.r.light. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.